Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Renee in Tune. This is Zin Uru Renee, and this is going to be a quick um, weekend astrology, if you will. I usually don't like to get into the whole, swing of the transits, only because I feel, and this is just my personal intuitive, opinion. So this has nothing to do with any of you, but I feel like sometimes we can tend to get wrapped up in what's happening astrologically, so much so that it like dictates our everyday life. And while I am, well versed in astrology, and both Western and sidereal, and Vedic as well, I love it. I think it is absolutely enlightening. It is amazing, fascinating in so many ways. It is not power. It has no power over you. Does that make sense? Unless you give it that. So I usually don't do these, but I am an astrologer and I do offer natal chart readings. So I am going to start talking about, what's happening in the transits occasionally at times here. So you can find those updates coming up on YouTube. Feel free to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already so that you can hear those. And these are going to be from my own perspective. I'm not, breaking down degrees of any chart for you guys, because at the end of the day, some of y'all don't even care about none of that. If you want to learn astrology, I am going to be offering those classes again soon, but I'm debating on whether I'm going to do them live or as a recorded class. So that's neither here nor there. That's a later event. But for now, it's more about the relationship. Like, astrology to me is all about relationships. Relationships between you and yourself, relationships between you and the energies around you, relationships between your mindset and your experience. It kind of goes, it's very evolutionary. So there's no, right or wrong. Everything is just very evolutionary. And the way that you receive it, it's never ending. You can always learn something new about yourself through astrology, because you're always evolving, right? So I wanted to, give you this short sneak peek into the astrology in the upcoming week. And yes, I do follow sidereal astrology. So those of you who are tuning in, you may hear a little bit of a different placement than that of Western astrologers, because I do, I also believe in science. So there is the transits have evolved. You know what I mean? Like, they're not transiting in the same place that they were 2,000 years ago. So there is some evolution that's happened there, and so things are a little different. And so the placements are not quite the same as in Western astrology. So for those of you who are interested in sticking around, by all means, please do. Like the video if you like this and you want to see more of it. Comment, share, definitely subscribe. I'm going to be doing these little quick astrology updates, and then I'll try to get into, I used to do this on live where I would do astrology Q&As, and I love that. My favorite thing is the interaction. So that's my favorite place to be, is on live. But I want you guys to have this content and also this interaction with me. Those of you who either aren't able to catch me on live, or for my own reasons, because I have gone through my own transitional processes in the recent times, and may not have been on there as much, or those of you who haven't even found me yet, you know what I mean, but you're like energetically making your way to me, and if you are, you're definitely an ancient old soul. So hey, we resonate a lot. But this will be just kind of like my own little interpretation of what's going on in the upcoming week. So we're still, the sun is still in Pisces, and so there's a lot of light happening on things that inspire us and boost our imagination, you know what I mean, and get our juices flowing. Things that we feel internally, very spiritually, very intuitively attracted to, drawn to, our intuitive knowing, things that we don't know how we know, we just feel it. These things have been highlighted lately, but at the same time and simultaneously, you're feeling, there's also a light on those things that are confusing, that are elusive, that are just quite like, I'm not sure what I'm looking at, and I don't know if I'm taking it the right way, and if I'm perceiving it for what it is or for my own elusive perception of it. And so I think that we've been kind of going through that as the sun's been in Pisces, and so we're going to see that, you know, playing out continuously for the rest of this week. We've also got some other things going on in Pisces. We've got Mercury in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces. So Neptune is amplifying that energy that we're feeling, that Piscean energy that we're feeling, of that, you know, telepathy, you know, flowing through, that intuitional, energetic connection flowing through, that you know, internal kind of inner voice, that guidance, that compass system happening, and just kind of like bam, 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 being on point. But also there being a flood of fog, you know what I mean? Making things not quite look completely clear. And maybe we're telling ourselves one thing, but things are really happening another way. And so we're kind of ciphering through all of that in terms of our communication, how we're learning, how we're processing information, and how we're communicating with others. Those things are going through this theme. And also in connection with you know, our communication, but in connection with who we are, with our personality, with how we show up and how we're expressing ourselves, and the parts of ourselves that we're letting other people see, that we're letting shine. And we're having this conversation with ourselves about, you know, who am I, and how am I showing up. And on the one hand, we're inspired because there's so much of our primal energy that we want to share, and all of that is being like highlighted right now. But there's also confusion, you know what I mean? Elusive, you know, fears, doubts, our unconscious self-undoings, you know what I mean? Our subconscious belief systems that are standing in the way of us being able to shine, really shine our primal, you know, our primal nature shining out in the open, out in the light. And also just things that are hidden from us, like places where we have natural gifts and we just don't know it, you know what I mean? We just don't know it. It's in there, we feel it, but it's hidden. It's in our hidden parts. We haven't delved into there yet because we're still under the perception of things needing to be or look a certain way. And so that's where we've kind of like traveled, you know. But Jupiter is also in Pisces, and so there's a lot of expansion happening. Expansion is happening in the places where your subconscious is tugging at you to believe something, and to the point where you're so aware of it now. But there's also expansion happening in the things that inspire you, and learning the places inside of yourself where there's that primal passion. It just comes with you. It's innate. It's natural. You didn't get it from anywhere. It comes from inside you. But there's also the expansion of your communication, your internal communication and your external communication with others. And also, and this is also energetic communication. You know what I mean? Some of you, the growth in telepathy is like real. The growth of your intuition is real. You know what I mean? The way that you're learning it and interpreting it and processing it is expanding. And the way that you're learning how to communicate deliberately in that energetic manner is expanding as well. Also just connecting with others that you have like a soul connection with. This is expanding for you. And it feels bumpy because you may have had a different perception of that in the past. And so you've been kind of going through this, having to sift through what is really you and what's not. You know what I mean? Now the moon is in Aquarius, and so the moon, you know, early in the week the moon is in Aquarius, and then it's going to travel through Pisces in the middle of the week, so you'll have more of that Pisces energy in connection with your past emotions. That's going to come up in the middle of the week, and then by the end of the week the moon is going to enter into Aries. So you're flowing from a place of planning, right? With that Aquarius energy, you're starting the week with this: I'm planning, I'm planning, I'm figuring this stuff out. It was foggy, it was cloudy, but I'm figuring it out. I'm feeling my way through. Right? I'm using my intuition. I'm using my natural abilities, and and now I'm planning. I'm using what I know, what I'm learning, and I'm thinking progressively for the future, and I'm thinking innovatively about how I can do what I want to do, but be my unique self and do it in the way that works for me authentically. You know what I mean? And then as you do that, you enter into this emotional place of understanding where your emotions are fooling you, are lying to you, but also where they're inspiring you and they're like moving you, right? And bringing a balance between the two, being able to cultivate a relationship between those two parts of yourself and integrate, so that they can work together well. And by the end of the week, you're going to go for certain things. You're going to go for certain things that you have an emotional attachment to that you've been sifting through the whys and the hows and the ups and the downs and the clarity and the fog. And you've been finding your way energetically. You're going to take action at the end of this week emotionally. I mean, for some of you, this is towards, romantic and loving communication. For some of you, this is towards a dream, a passion of yours, something you love to do, something that inspires you. For some of you, this is a massive healing. Now Mars is in Gemini, and so this is dominant energy. This is like ambitious energy, and there will be a lot of communication happening where there wasn't. With that Mercury entering into Aries at the end of the week, within that flip-flop Mars and Mercury energy, Mars and Gemini energy. Venus is also in Aries, and so we're highlighting the things that we admire, the things that we see beauty in, the things that we find adoration in. And this could be art, this could be things of comfort, food, your physical, like this. You may find yourself wanting to care for yourself, your body more, you know what I mean, like using your oils and your natural product, and you know what I mean, like just like moistening yourself, just giving yourself a little extra love. And you may also find that sensuality coming out in your communications as well with those, your loved ones, those around you. Now Saturn is in Aquarius, and so Saturn is where that reality check comes in, and Saturn is like, yo, we need to be thinking about this, that, and the third, bada bada. You know what I mean? Like Saturn is going to really shine a light on you and give you the 101 on what you're looking at. So where there was fog, Saturn's always there to be like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, this is, since you're confused, here you go. This is what's happening here. And so it may feel a little chaotic because sometimes things have to happen in order for us to see it clearly, But Saturn is in that very is in that very progressive energy as well. That energy of planning, that progressive energy, that innovative energy. And so, personally, this is connected to whatever it means for you. But collectively, this is like the veil just being ripped off. You know what I mean? We're moving ahead in technology. We're moving ahead in just outer worldly things, you know what I mean? Understanding, whatever extraterrestrial activity, solar power energy, the ways that we, view currency, the ways that we communicate on a societal level in community. These have all been like, the band-aids have been getting ripped off. So we're seeing so much truth come out, and we're now making decisions for ourselves in terms of those truths. North Node is in Aries, and so a lot of you are, you have this process you've been going through has enlightened you on what will bring you fulfillment, what path, what purpose, what personal journey is fulfilling for you. Not what you learned here, not what you learned there, not even what you're being told now, but what that is for you, what that means for you, you know. But it's taken almost like tower moments, drastic change for those things to come into realization for some of you. That's where that Uranus and Aries energy comes in, because Uranus is already that rebellious nature, but it's also drastic change. It's when change happens, and it's because of the rebellious nature. You're becoming a rebel with a cause. You know what I mean? Aries is feisty, it's spicy. It's like, yeah, I'm going for it. You know. So you're fighting for something, and it's taken some drastic changes for you to see what you're fighting for. Some tower moments. For some of you, this has felt chaotic. It's felt like a storm, but it has been drastically enlightening for you. Now, I believe I touched on all of the planets and where they are and how they're kind of in relationship with each other. And this is, again, my take. So, you know, take it or leave it. But drop me some comments if you like the video, share the video. Definitely subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I'll try to do these every so often so we can kind of get a little snippet and update as to where we are in energetically in relationship to our heavenly bodies, and how they do impact and move our energy, and how they can potentially relate to us, you know what I mean, on a collective level. Because now you have, you know, when you go into your own natal chart and your own personal experiences, these create sometimes, you know, harmonies or challenges for you. So that then becomes your flow, how you're receiving these energies and how you're experiencing them along the way. So I hope that you liked that, and this is kind of like a theme for this upcoming week. I just did a tarot reading for the collective, and that's more like a snippet for the next couple of days, because I'm doing the collectives every few days. But there are some similar themes there, so you can go check that out and see how, you know, that correlated with the astrology in the upcoming week. So I'll do another one of these next week if you like. Drop me some comments to let me know if you like this. And, you know, again, I'm not going into all the degree placements and all that good jazz, just kind of like what zodiac sign are in and how they're relating to each other and even to you, because I'm more of a conversational person and teacher. Even though I don't consider myself a teacher, but those of you who have called me that, it's my way of communication is more conversational than, you know, getting into the technicalities of things. Although I do have a very, you know, research research-based mind, so I love the science and the fascination and all of that. That opens your mind. But I believe that when we are relating to each other, it's conversational. You know what I mean? It's an experience exchange, and that is how we feel it the most. So that is how I feel. So those of you who are new to me, welcome. But anyhow, if you're interested in a tarot reading, you can visit my website at reneeandsusan.com. If you're interested in a natal chart reading, you can also find that there. That will be in the description box below. If you are into poetry and you want to check out my 2 poetry compilations on now on Amazon, you can find that link on my website. You can find it on my, you know, link page. You can find it anywhere. And it also, keep your eyes open, because my podcast is coming soon, and that's where I'll be talking about all this, the nitty gritty and the stuff I really like to talk about. So those of you who have been with me for a while, you know my spiels. You'll be able to you know, go back and listen to them now, and those of you who are new to me will be able to kind of, you know, tune in and see where I'm at and the lane I'm creating in this world here that we're living in. But anyhow, I love you all so much. Again, this is Zin Uru Renee, and this was an astrology update for the week. Have a beautiful one, and much love.